What you need to do, and this is the most important thing that I'm going to tell you in this entire video, what you need to do as an attacker is you need to set... What is going on, guys? 821 Mayo here, and today we are going to be having ourselves another viewer VoD review video. Now, before we actually jump into the VoD, I want to quickly touch on two things. Firstly, I want to mention that 40% of you guys aren't subscribed, and we are closing in on 30,000 subs. So if you have not hit the sub button already, I would greatly appreciate it if you did. And secondly, I want to touch on the fact that I am now publicly doing coaching. So if you guys are interested in me coaching you, anything from doing a private VoD review session like this one, but in private, or going over a list of ideas that could help you, anything that you think you struggle with, I will help you get better on. So for all of the information that you need and more, there will be a link to my Patreon down below in the description. So make sure you guys go check that out if you are interested. Now, with all of that being said, let's jump into the video. Alright, so this Claymore placement here, you always want to place a Claymore on the opposite side of wherever you and your team are most likely going to be playing. So a great example is the garage door in Clubhouse. If you place a Claymore on the right side, then the defender will have to shoot the Claymore and then just look up in order to take a gunfight on anyone on the CC platform outside of the CC wall. Same logic applies here. If someone wants to shoot this Claymore, it is going to be on the same side that they are most likely going to swing around, which is this corner here. So they see the Claymore, this line of sight, they shoot it, and then they can walk out of the angle and then, take the gunfights wherever. Meanwhile, if you place it on the opposite side, on the opposite side, the north side of the door, then they have to look to their right, do a complete 180, then run out, and then take the gunfights. So it just could be a fraction of a difference in, keeping a teammate alive or yourself as well. So just a quick little piece of information there. One thing that I'm currently noticing about your playstyle and everything is you don't have a sense of direction during the round. Like, you went into pillbox, you went outside, you keep walking back and forth on the bridge. You need to be doing something that's progressive for you and your team. I make it a huge point, and I say this a lot in my VoD review videos, but, if you're not doing something productive and something that progresses you and your team towards the objective, then what are you doing? Make sure that you give yourself a purpose every single second of every single round. Because if you don't, you're going to be in a situation like this where you're running back and forth, side to side, like a lost dog in the street, not really knowing where you're going, right? Like, you need to make sure that you give yourself a purpose. And if you don't know how to do it during a round, then you have 10 to 30 seconds, sometimes even a minute of load time before you even load in with your drone on attack or your operator on defense in the prep phase. Think about what you're going to do. Visualize the map. What do you want to do? Where do you want to place your utility? As an attacker, what map control do you want to take? Where do you want to drone? There's so many different things that you could be thinking about instead of just having dead space in your head while you're loading into the round, right? Like, you need to make sure that you're at least preparing yourself mentally so that way you know what to do if a situation like this ever comes up. Because right now you're just running back and forth. You've wasted about a minute and a half of time just going back and forth between these two locations. So make sure that you have a set goal and a set objective in your head, so that way you don't get lost like you are now. Why are you using an impact on this window? This window, you can clearly tell that it's already been hit twice. And for anyone who doesn't know, it takes 3 times to break a window. So this window right here is 1 hit away from being broke. So there's no reason at all to use a Zofia impact. You can use it on Maestro Cam, Barbed Wire, Malusi. I see it all the time where people will use an Ash Charge or a Zofia impact or a grenade on a barricade or something, and then they're faced with a Maestro Cam or Malusi, and they're like, oh, nerf Maestro, he's too overpowered. Oh, nerf Malusi, she's too overpowered. Use your utility on the proper things. You can shoot a barricade open. You can melee it open. It's not like you're forced to get rid of a barricade with an explosive. There's no reason at all to be using an impact on this window. This window right here probably would take 5 bullets to open, or it would take 1 melee to open. So make sure you're using your utility in the right spots, because that was definitely not the right spot.
Someone watch the drone?
Alright, you played your angles there really, really well. You kind of sprinted a little bit at the Ella. You heard her, so I would like to see you not sprint as much, because sprinting gets you killed pretty often, especially if you're a low-ranking player. This guy that I'm reviewing right now is Gold 1. I didn't show the VoD form, but I reviewed his full form. Currently he's a Gold 1, and that's his max rank is this season in Neon Dawn, Gold 1. A lot of low elo players sprint a lot of the time. And you heard that Ella clear as day. I even heard her sprinting out of pillbox. And you were still sprinting as well. So make sure that you understand the audio cues there, so that way you can keep your gun up. Because you hit a nice shot on her, but let's say you don't hit that nice shot. Then where does the gunfight go to, right? You're playing your angles really well here as well. Like, you killed the guy on the control stacks. You guessed the angle, you played the angle correctly. So good job on those 2 kills, but the first one definitely could have been slowed down a little bit, you know, pre-aimed more. Especially playing the vertical grip on Zofia. Now what I want to see you do, and I don't see a lot of... whenever I solo queue or 5-stack and champ diamond elo, I don't know why, but people seem to forget how important or influential Zofia concussion mines are. It's pretty much like roam clearing an area with her concussion mines. If you guys are unaware of how the mechanic works, it's a proximity-based gadget. So if a defender is in the proximity of shooting a Zofia concussion mine, it will automatically detonate, notifying you that there is an enemy in that area of the concussion mine, the proximity of it. So you can figure out where someone is positioned and their location within a room pretty accurately with 2 concussion mines. So what I would do here, if I was in your position, I would shoot 190, like the little hallway here. That way it bounces into the hallway, and if it doesn't detonate, that notifies you that he is no longer, or he is not in 90 hallway. And then I would shoot the second one into server through the door. Now there's 2 reasons for this. One, you're shooting it into server, notifying you if he's playing anywhere near this area. I'd probably say inside of server, close on the door. And 2, if it does detonate outside of the door, then that will also notify you that he's playing somewhere top green stairs, somewhere in this area. So one Zofia concussion mine will serve the purpose of 2 different areas. And then you can pretty much angle guess after that, because you know that he's probably not close door, so he might be behind the server stack there, or playing the rotate there or there. So, you know, Zofia concussion mines are very important in how successful you can clutch up a round like this. Because you also don't have diffuser, it's inside. You did not retrieve it either. Okay, there you go. You noticed that you didn't have it. But yeah, make sure you're using your Zofia concussion mines. Even here, you know, you may only have 10 seconds or however much time when you start going for plant. So you have around 10 seconds here. Take that extra 2 to 3 seconds to make sure that the defender doesn't push. You could shoot one in the green hallway there, and you can shoot one somewhere in server around there. Not only will that mask the sound of your plant when they detonate, but it'll also notify you if he enters the proximity of the concussion mine, notifying you that he is in the proximity of it, so that way you can make the decision of trying to take the gunfight or not. But it's a great stall mechanic, or a great piece of utility stall as well. You can stall the last defender here, so that way you can plant a little bit more safely. Your teammates are also pinging him.
Let's go.
Alright, that was a nice shot there as well. You heard that your teammates were pinging him. I also heard it in my headphones, and I want to show something here. So there's a first ping. There's a second ping. So if you ping in this game, it makes, or if you yellow ping, I should say, it'll show a yellow dot on the compass. So as you're planting, you have nothing else to do but to look around at your UI and listen for audio. Like, that's what you should be looking at, right? Whenever you're planting, you shouldn't be worried about the progression bar of the diffuser being planted. Yeah, maybe glance at it here and there, just so that way you can prepare yourself to be mobile again, so that way you're not standing on top of the diffuser after you plant. But you should be glancing down at that bar every so often. But your primary focus should be the time. And in a situation like this, you should pay attention to the compass. Because if you hear the audio cues of the actual ping mechanic, and you don't see any yellow dots on your compass on the outside line, that means that he is being red pinged, which will also mean that your team has complete and accurate information on him. So I like to see that you kind of picked up on that. At least that's what I'm assuming. But, you know, good job on the clutch here. I think it was a 1v3, so excellent job on that. But, yeah, make sure that you are using your Zofia concussion mines. That's the only real gripe I would say. And also use your impacts on much more important pieces of utility. Because, again, using an impact on a barricade isn't really going to do much, you know, especially when the barricade is one hit away. Or, you know, it takes 5 or 6 bullets to destroy it completely. But overall, good job. Just, you know, micro adjustments that I would make to this round so far. But, again, you know, good job on the clutch. So the way you're attacking right now as an individual, we're 25 seconds into the round, and I'm not even kidding, this entire round was pretty much him running back and forth like the previous round. So what you need to do, and this is the most important thing that I'm going to tell you in this entire video, what you need to do as an attacker is you need to set an objective of map control you want to take. Because if you don't, you're going to keep playing like this in the same rank and wondering why you're not ranking up or not improving, because you're not setting objectives in your head or for your team or for yourself as an individual, right? You have a Maverick, tell him to Mav trick the wall soft. If he can't do that, then tell him to put Mav holes in the wall, and then you guys try to take Skybridge like you are now. But you should not be entering the building, and I'm not even kidding when I say this. They jumped into Skybridge printer area 6 seconds ago, 30 seconds into the round. As an attacker, you should never, ever, ever be entering the building in the last 30 seconds of the round. Should not be happening. Ever. Because now you're pretty much setting yourself up for failure. You need to make sure that you're setting, if your team does absolutely nothing, if you're solo queue, and it's you, 4 other random players, if they do absolutely nothing, at least you have the experience and the practice of setting an objective, executing that objective, and hopefully successfully obtaining that objective and that, you know, completing that goal, right? I don't care if you lose every single game. I would much rather have you do that than win and not learn, because not learning is not going to set yourself up for the long run. Because you'll have this crutch, this reliability of your teammates doing things for you. The way you're playing makes it seem like you're expecting your teammates and the enemy to do things for you. Right? That's the way you're playing. You should never expect anything out of your teammates or the enemy unless you, and this goes towards his teammates. You shouldn't expect anything out of your teammates unless you communicate it. Because how are they supposed to know what you want out of them unless you don't communicate it? There's no way for them to know that. They can't read your mind. They can't, you know, they can't meet your expectations without you letting them know what your expectations are, right? So you got to clean that up. Like, you got to clean that up.
Legion's up ping.
Oh, he's dead. Fuck, you gotta go, dude. Fuck, you're playing way too slow. You gotta push up a little bit sooner.
You're telling this Buck he's playing way too slow, but you're in the exact same position that he's in. So wouldn't that also make you playing slow? Which would then make you a hypocrite? Would that not? So far from what I've gathered from what you just said and how you're playing, that would. You can't, again, it's funny how I say the things that I say, and then it happens in game. It's almost like I've been here at some point, and I've experienced what you've experienced. You just gave me the prime example of me saying the expectations that you're setting for your teammate, even though you're not communicating to them. You're not communicating to them. You're not saying what you want done, how you want done it. And people might say, oh, that's too hard, you know. But, I mean, how do you expect to win games unless you don't communicate? I mean, your chances of winning a round in game go down drastically as soon as you and your teammates don't communicate with each other. I pulled up statistics in a tip video one time. I can't remember what tip video. But I researched articles and surveys and studies. And your chances of becoming successful or succeeding go down drastically when it's a multi-person environment in terms of like a workplace or a team like this. If you don't communicate, your chances go down drastically. And you're setting expectations for your teammates in your head, not communicating it, and then you tell the buck, hey, you're playing way too slow. What are you doing? You have to be pushed up. This is exactly what I meant. Exactly what I meant.
Jump on me. I'm gonna throw a grenade first.
Just wait. This kid just got waited.
I'm sorry. You had like popcorn aim there. It looked like corn kernels popping in the microwave. It just kept going up and down, jumping. I'm sorry. There wasn't really anything for me to go over in that round that I haven't already said. Again, you're doing the same thing as I've said the past 2 previous rounds. So, you know, that round is going to be skipped over for the most part. That round that you just played there, Finka. So, yeah, I mean, you know, on to the next round.
Not sure on that one.
She's about to rush me 100%. No, my.
Alright, one thing about the way you're playing right now, I don't know how difficult it is on console, but working on your pre-aim will have a great benefit for you, because you have good aim for the most part. In most situations you do. But pre-aim needs to be worked on. Pre-aiming is just as important as flicking or tracking or having good aim, right? Because if you have bad pre-aim, but you have good aim, I know this might get confusing here for a second. If you're pre-aiming off of target and you need to flick onto target, then it's going to take more motion to do that. But if both are good, you know, having good pre-aim and tracking and things like that, and also having good aim between flicking or, you know, doing whatever it is, then if your pre-aim is good and it's on center with, you know, holding a corner when you're strafing or whatever, then it's going to take less motion and less effort to get to target. Because, like, right there, you're, like, aiming down at the wall on red stairs at the Hibana. If you were aiming on the corner of the wall, you know, as she jumped in, you would have killed her right there. So make sure that you're focusing on your pre-aim, because pre-aiming is just as important as aim in general. So, you know, hop into a custom game or T-Hunt and work on it, right? Again, I've never played on console. I've never played on controller, so I don't know how difficult it really is. But I have played on controller and console in the past on Call of Duty and stuff like that. And I know it's not the same game, but it is, you know, an FPS at the end of the day. So you try work on it a little bit is what I'm saying. You know, put some extra time into it.
Oh my God.
She's in.
You shouldn't have rushed the corner.
Look underneath. And maybe go for fuser there. See if you can get some quick shots. Nice.
Good job on playing your angles there. That was very excellent. Your teammates were giving some sus calls. I'm not even about to cap, but they were given the information that they needed. His teammates are the kind of people to say on ping or over there, instead of calling the actual location, which that location there is called box, or breach. You know, doesn't really matter. Just try to be as specific as you can with callouts. But nonetheless, good job on the clutch. You played the angles. You know you saw the diffuser, and you were playing off of your teammates' information and callouts. So good job. But again, you know, try to you know, smash that into your head about working on your pre-aim, and it's gonna take time, just like, you know, working on your aim or whatever it is, but it will be worth it, because it will help your aim overall, because as I said, you know, you have good aim, but your pre-aim is lacking, which is making you crutch on the fact that you need to flick more than you should be, or more than you should be, because your pre-aim is lacking, putting your crosshair in a bad position. So yeah. But nonetheless, good job on the clutch.
Okay.
See, that's another example I'm talking about with pre-aim. So let's go back to this here. You're pre-aiming like crouch height. What you should be doing as you're swinging into this door frame. So let's just say the door frame is back over here. As you're swinging into it, like strafing to the left, that is, you should be tracking somewhere on this door frame, because now that you've swung this Zofia and she's right here, look what you have to do now. Now you have to take your crosshair from there all the way to her head, which is there. Instead, if you were following the door frame like this, as you were swinging into the angle, you know, if you're pre-aiming either head height or crouch height, you wouldn't have to do this. Your crosshair would be directly on target. That's what I mean by having good pre-aim. I mean, nonetheless, good shot, but the shot is partially luck there. I'm gonna be honest. Because not only should that Zofia kill you, because she is pre-aiming the door, but also you hit a headshot by her strafing into it, and recoil as well.
Nice, Steiner. Thank you, dude. Nice.
I don't know where the other one is.
I don't know. I said we just play sight and wait for him.
I think he dropped.
What are you doing here? You keep running back and forth, side to side. The same thing that I was talking about on attack is happening on defense. Low elo players lack a sense of direction during a round. They just lack it. It's as simple as that. And the reason I know that is because I've reviewed almost 50 VoDs now, and I would say 40 of them, or 35 of them even, are low elo players, and they lack a sense of direction. I feel like a broken record every single time I VoD review. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you have to implement what you want to take or what you want to defend on attack or defense. It's as simple as that. If you implement that, your mind will be much more clear, so that way you can play the game at your best of abilities. But since you're so scrambled all the time, like I saw you run back and forth, side to side, and then for some reason you go into closet with your teammate here.
I think he dropped.
Like, what? Why? Why are you going into closet with your teammate if he's already here?
I know he didn't. We can check here. Hold up, Rain. Whoever.
Nobody. You don't need to get on cams either because you have a teammate that's on cams.
Whoever's dead, can you please watch? I just heard him break a window. Let's go, dude. Good stuff. GG, boys.
Woo!
Alright, one thing that I'm gonna say about this VoD review, and I'm going out on a limb here, but I'm pretty sure I'm accurate. I think you went 11-1. I think that was your score, 11 kills, 1 death. You submitted the VoD knowing that it was a good game, which is something that you should never do when submitting a VoD. I would much rather see the worst of a player than see the best of the best. Because now what you've done is you limited your learning potential here, because I have a lack of situations and examples to set, so that way you can learn and I can teach you. And I'm talking to the individuals submitting this VoD. But now the VoD recording is at 35 minutes currently in OBS, which is one of my shortest VoD reviews. So not only have you kind of handicapped or chopped off some of the learning that you could have gotten, but also you went into this VoD review submitting it, knowing that in your mind you played well, but yet you realize the amount of mistakes you still made. So your mindset as a player needs to be completely changed. Like, completely changed. However you think about the game currently needs to be changed to a completely different perspective. Because the way you think is not healthy for the progression of you, like as an individual trying to get better. And I don't mean any disrespect by that, or else I wouldn't be here, you know, helping you, right? I'm just speaking my mind and saying it bluntly, so that way you understand where I'm coming from. Again, no disrespect to you, and I'm not trying to be negative or anything. Like, great job, you clutched two rounds, but they could have been played better. But that's just me nitpicking at the end of the day. But you're also submitting the VoD for me to do that, right? And I'm not a perfect player. Nobody is a perfect player. But you need to change your mindset in the game. At least that's what I'm assuming that's your mindset submitting this VoD. And you definitely need to change your mindset as a player just from this one VoD. But when you submit a VoD, you should not be submitting the best game that you have from the past week or month or whatever it is. Just not something you should ever do. But yeah, that is going to wrap up episode, I forget actually. But with all that being said, if you guys enjoyed, I hope you learned something new. As I said at the beginning of the video, 40% of you guys aren't subscribed. We are inches away from 30K, so If you guys could hit that sub button, I would greatly appreciate it. After that, 40K. So if we're already at 30K by the time of this recording going up, hey, 40K is the next goal. If you haven't hit the sub button and we're already at 30, let's hit the 40K. But yeah, I appreciate the support, boys. Make sure you guys like the video, comment. If you guys have any questions, I'll be in the comment section. So yeah. Also, before I go, I want to mention again the coaching on Patreon. There'll be a link to it in the description below. Any questions you guys have for me or just in general, they will all be answered over there. There are going to be different tiers. You can, get access to my DMs for as little as $7 a month. So, if you guys want to submit me or ask me a question anytime during the month, 24/7, 365, I will be there. As little as $7 a month, you can hit my DMs for any questions you might have or just advice in general. But yeah, with all of that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something new, and I will see you guys in the next video.